Okay, folks, good evening. Once again, Sherman's galore, and we did a little bit of painting this morning on my own. We're working on these Shermans, and I went ahead and painted some headlights and taillights, and I'm pretty happy with them. They're very minimalist, but I know they're there. So this guy's pretty much done to be sealed. This one needs a little tarp on the back, and this one's done to be sealed. So let's paint a little tarp on this guy, and then we can move forward. And go from there. So, I think I was getting ready to pick what the color was and then how to go to work. One of those things. This is Russian uniform. It's actually a little too close to that color. Let's grab something that's pretty faded. Of course, I could just fade the hell out of this. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's see what we can do with this color. And we'll see who joins us tonight. We'll see who shows up. All right, so here's the Russian uniform. We're going to need a little bit more than that. The color they call Russian uniform. Let's use this to paint it overall. Then honestly, I'm not sure if I got enough stars. That's why it's dull. Right? Yep. This thing disconnected on me. When your screen goes dull, it's a sign that you're probably not plugged in. There we go. I mean, even though this computer can work not plugged in, I rarely do. It's a laptop combination type thing. I rarely use it not plugged in. Never know when you're going to need that reserve. Got almost like a... Hey, Nordic. How you doing? It looked like that was a piece of hair or something there, but I guess it wasn't. I'm doing okay. I finally got my headache to subside. Might be the change in the weather, honestly. I've had a headache for about 4 days. Not huge. Sunday evening I was kind of in pain, but that was something neck related, but it's all good. I went to the gym and I felt better. Go figure. So everything is good here. How are you? Did you get your walk in? Is it still raining? You have a good walk since the rain stopped. There you go. You answered my own question. Perfect. You know, you can walk in the rain, but not if it's raining like a lot. That would be bad. Walking out there with your umbrella. We got some people around here in our neighborhood. They'll walk around with an umbrella on a sunny day, but they're from a different continent, and I guess that's something that they do. Hey, whatever you want to do, it just seems weird. They're vampires, maybe. I was on the treadmill for about 30 minutes today, and just the time just flew by because I was watching some people showing how they wanted to paint some things, and I'm like, it's either too basic or too complicated. Everything I've seen, I've actually surprised myself how much I like how it turned out for me. Now, one thing I am going to have to do is I'm going to have to brush paint and get rid of that gloss because it has almost like a tiny sheen on it, and it didn't before. And that's after using the matte spray. So I'm going to have to brush on something just to take that sheen off so they photograph a little bit better. You walk with an umbrella all the time. Actually, I didn't want to walk because it was heavy rain at 40 degrees, so pneumonia weather. Yeah. This is the quickest 30 minutes just looking at other people paint stuff. You know, on YouTube Junkie. Mitch told me about a couple of Russian movies that he'd been watching, Russian World War II movies, but I don't know. I've tried to watch a couple of them, and they're so propagandistic. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it anymore. Clay, yes, you got a DBA question. Hit me. I'll try to answer it. Let me find cover before you ask that question. Well, you can ask the DBA question. I actually got nothing against DBA. And I will continue to build DBA armies. Because if I play something different, I'm still going to use the same armies. I'm not just going to like throw away the 40 armies that I've spent thousands of hours on. That would be stupid, you know? It's a long one, huh? I type slow. I wish I really should take a class on how to like type and look at the screen, because I can't do that. I wish I could. I don't type slow. I just make a lot of mistakes. I'm like a dyslexic type typer, so. I think you said it before, ask anyways. What drew you to DBA aside from the convention where no one showed up for a game you were going to play? What made you stick with DBA? Okay, I'll get back to that because yours is complicated. Scott's Common Army has 3-bow mounted unit. It moves like a cav unit, but fights like a bow unit, correct? Kind of. It's mounted infantry. I don't have the army list here in front of me, but assuming it is a 3-bow mounted unit. Okay, so it's represented by a 40 by 40 stand with 3 bowmen and then one guy on a horse, or just a horse by itself or something like that. But it's a 40 by 40 stand. It behaves like a bow in every situation. A 3-bow, a fast bow, in every situation except the following. It can set up on the flanks because it is mounted infantry. It can multi-move. It's able to do that. I think that's it. Think of them as bowmen that, as soon as it's time for them to move, they happen to have a horse right there and they hop on and get on the horse. But then they get off the horse immediately. So they're never mounted because they're basically a foot type. They're always on foot. And if you think of them that way, then it's kind of like, that's kind of how they are. But again, the same thing. If they ever move more than one base width, they can't shoot. They can multi-move, I believe, like light horse. But if they, obviously if they multi-move, they're moving more than one, they won't be able to shoot as well. Does that answer your question? They're kind of cool. It's just something else to do. The coolest thing about them, honestly, is the fact that they can deploy out in that outside zone. The multi-move thing is nice because you might want to transfer them from one flank to another, and it allows you to do that if you roll good enough pips. I think I said it before, I'll ask anyways. What drew you to DBA aside from the convention where no one showed up for a game and you were going to play? What made you stick with DBA? Okay, you remembered my story. That was actually Hurricane 2004. So that actually was, on that Sunday, there was a hurricane that was, I believe that was the year that we got 3 hurricanes in Florida. They crisscrossed. I don't remember what the hell the names of them were. None of them affected us here. But one was closing in on Tampa Bay towards the Sunday of the convention. So not too much unlike the one we just experienced, even though it wasn't really Tampa Bay that was where it was headed towards. But I had showed up to play Armati because I wanted to play Renaissance Spanish. And I liked the idea of a tournament game because I'm moving and playing with my own figures. And I don't have to stress out about somebody like ham-fisting and destroying my shit. Because 6 years before I had an issue with that, and I'm like, that just left a bad taste in my mouth. But it was basically only a few guys. The armies were relatively small, and it played quick, and it seemed like a lot of people were playing it at the time. But what a learning curve! I mean, that's much harder than learning how to play ASL or anything else. Mitch had one in your last video. Yeah, and I don't know what the hell happened with the video. Somebody said there was a problem with the video, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I look at it, and it's in like some blurry ass mode. It's like 480, and it's not 480. It might be 720. It's like, dude, I film it the same way I always did, and it's like, That's just more icing on the cake. You know, it's just really frustrating to go through all that effort to have some good product and you know the gremlins from the Kremlin strike and I have a shit looking video and there's nothing I can do about it because I can't relaunch it. It's already been deleted. And I don't think it looked that way when I first put it up there. It's like I film and like actually I film it. I can actually upload it in it's in 1080 when it's uploaded, but I could get something crazy. I could do like I think 8K, but you know the file would be massive, you know. So I've never done that and don't plan on doing it because the upload would just be ridiculous. But you got it in DBA 1.0. I didn't know that you played DBA ever, Nordic. Cool. You got into DBA 1.0 mainly because Frank Chadwick wanted someone to play against one night and said, I'll give it a whirl. Frank and I wound up playing numerous games with him over the next couple years. So you were like, because I know you're younger than me. You're like 10 years younger than me or something like that. So you were like kind of like the kid. You were like Frank's kid that he'd push around. You know, kid meaning like I started gaming when I was 15, 16 years old. And I was like, you know, everybody was 10 or more years older than me. So that's cool. There's an older guy I used to play with that was, I guess, 20 years older than me or whatever. With those working at DBA's Samurai Army. There's no mounted bow in a Samurai Army. There's no mounted bow. There's I believe they have one. The later Samurai Army has, I think one of them has a fast bow, and the other one has a solid bow. But they don't have any mounted bow. The Samurai Armies are really cool looking, but they don't have a lot of combined arm stuff. Like they've got no skirmishers at all. And they're kind of a one-trick pony, kind of. I mean, it's a good pony, but I would have played DBA 1.0 if I'd heard about it. I just never heard about it. I would have started learning about medieval and ancient history sooner. So. But it's a cool element. It's a cool element. But then just about everything's a cool element, you know? Yeah, played 1.0, 2007 to 2009. Frank and his partner, Glenn Kidd, introduced me to miniature games. I got into Flames of War in 2007, wound up playing the game. That's why I have Volume Bayonet and Command Decision. We played Command Decision in 1987. The first one. And then the second one came out, I want to say in 92? Something like that. And it's much improved from the first one because you could take like multiple hits and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty good. But then I lost track where it went after that. Barbarossa 25. As a matter of fact, we were playing Command Decision when Old Glory came out with their Command Decision packs for 15s. And that's the first 15 World War II stuff I'd ever seen. We did it in 285th scale. We did it in GHQ. But Old Glory had their Command Decision branded packs that you get like 5 Mark IVs. They were kind of the same as the GHQ stuff. They came, I think, in sets of 5s. I could be wrong. I didn't buy any. 15 millimeter to me is not a World War II scale. I just didn't grow up doing it. We were doing this scale because, well, you can see if you look at Frank Chadwick's all his stuff, he plays in 20 mil or 1/72nd, or you know, he's got some Roco stuff that's fit in there. They're just plain pieces, you know. It all works. The 1.0 is a trip. You get pushed back 3 times and you die. Yeah, and when I started playing, I'm like, oh, they're like, hey, you should play DBA Online. And DBA Online was, I believe, its own version. It was like 1.22. And you try to learn something like DBA, and then you're trying to play DBA online, which was, I think, a pretty freaking cool game. But it just wasn't the latest version of the rules. Man, it was not helpful. Let's put it that way. It's literally the most difficult thing I've had to try to learn how to play. And there's some things that DBA Online, I think, handled better than the current version of DBA. And that is, if you doubled Light Horse on with Bowman, they would flee. You couldn't kill them. You could kill Light Horse with bows if you went into contact with them. You know, to simulate that, I guess you like wait until you fire at the white of their eyes, you know, but you were 24 when I got introduced to miniature wargaming. It was historical miniatures gaming and drew me in. Since branched out to include fantasy and fantasy fiction. You played DBA 172nd. Even painted a couple armies for Frank for DBA and their Men Under Fire World War II rules. Hold on a second. Let me find my glasses so I can find myself. You're not talking about this, are you? Who's the author of this thing? One-to-One Games, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. This is one of those set of rules that I picked up thinking we were going to be able to use it for a skirmish, but I don't think it's very good. It may not be horrible, but it's not Face of Battle. Face of Battle is much better. I don't know, to be honest with you, I've just looked at it. I never did a damn thing with it. So, but I'm not afraid of playing turns to load, 2 turns to load an Arisaka rifle. Yeah, it's going to move real slow. You know, you better be running like 3 guys. If that's what it is. You know. Under Fire. What year did this come out in? 1987. Maurice V. Holmes Jr. and Leo A. Walsh. Boy, they really like their middle names, don't they? Yeah, this the game you're talking about? I found my old rules that I was making in the early 90s, and yeah, they're cool, but man, they focus on too much stuff. The Face of Battle is just fine. The fact that Face of Battle is out of print is probably even better. If I find something in there I don't like, I'll freaking change it. I plan on running it like a role-playing game. And I don't mean that, you know, people need to act things out. I'm just saying that, you know, when you lose a guy, it's a big deal, you know? Yeah, you're going to run a half squad, you know? You guys can team up. One guy's a squad leader, one guy's the assistant squad leader. 4 players on one team, that's 2 squads, you know, or something like that, or, you know, a vehicle and a half squad, or you know, and I'm not trying to get the bad guys to win. It's just, it happens, you know, whatever happens. No, that isn't it. This one had a green cover and was put out circa 2008-ish. Okay. Well, you said Under Fire, and I'm like, Under Fire. So many rule sets all sound the same after a while. And then I looked at where did I see? Somebody was selling a copy of Nuts. And there's a lot of videos on Nuts, and Nuts looks like it could have potential, but I want to roll dice for resolution. I don't want to pull a card and down in the corner and what happens. I want to roll dice. Especially as much fun as we had playing, what was the name of that game? Blood and Steel rolling dice. I get animated when I roll a lot of dice. It's kind of fun. But you can't roll a bunch of dice because, percentile is the way to go for, World War II stuff, what I'm used to. So, you're only rolling 2 dice. Oh, I'm over here. Jeez. You could totally ask a DBA question. Especially army lists and figures and shit like that. That's going to be consistent, and that's the stuff I dig. Rolling dice is one of the best things to do with games. I agree. And if people don't like rolling dice, or just get other people to play with. Again, I went to the game convention and I saw folks that weren't having a good time. You gotta have a good time. Things are, both sides are trying to win, so you gotta laugh about when stupid things happen to your guy, and he's a moron and he fails a self rally and stuff like that. You just gotta laugh about it. I mean, you gotta cheer him on and stuff, but some people just get down in the dumps when everything doesn't go your way. It's the other guys are trying to win too. What's my favorite DBA army, and what's your favorite element I've painted? Wow, that's 2 tough questions, especially the first one. My favorite DBA army. I don't know I have one. I know it's going to sound strange to you, but I have favorite generals, unlike Joel, but I don't know if I got a favorite DBA army that I own. How about I do it backwards? What's my favorite DBA army I haven't built yet? I know you didn't ask that. Hey, you get a free question. Paris. Without a doubt, Paris. He may get built at some point. I don't see doing any 15s the rest of the year, which is not that long. I gotta knock these guys out so I can knock out some bad guy vehicles, and we can do a practice tank on tank run. My favorite army that I've painted. I don't know that I can say I don't know that I can say that. What about my least favorite army that I've painted? I don't know if I can answer that either. I kind of like them all. That's a good problem to have. Favorite element? Either the Pope or the Byzantine Emperor. It's like a little diorama. I like those a lot. They're a pain in the ass because they have multiple steps. You got to paint the figures first, right? And then you've got to put the goop and put some figures down, put the goop around them, but not all of them. I don't know if there's any armies that I have that I don't like. That'd be a tough decision. Paris. Yep. Yeah, he's cool. I got all the right stuff for him. He could ride into his execution. Impetuous bastard. Just don't stand near any buildings with tiles. Don't mix it up on the city streets with an old lady throwing shit at you. Well, the good news is we're going to play Monday, and I'm really looking forward to it. And no, it won't be filmed. Sorry. At some point. That point's probably a long way away. If we play Ancients or Medieval, it's not going to be filmed, not for a while. If we play other stuff, yeah. I mean, it's not like I don't want to film stuff. It's just this isn't the time or the place for it. So, I really want to play Command and Colors Napoleonics. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. So there'll be plenty of videos coming up. I still like doing videos. I just don't want to make any 3.0 videos. There's over 200 of them out there. You guys have plenty if you want that. You know, and maybe you can, if you want to make your own. I've shown you ways to do it, and also maybe ways not to do it. Maybe, you know, we've done stuff that you don't care for, especially when you go through the filming, and you know, and it sucks because the video the other night went really well. It was a decent length. It was easy to process, and now it's some shit resolution. That's just really frustrating. That's kind of like if I painted stuff and I hated how it turned out, but then I can't fix it. You know, that's really frustrating. Luckily, I don't have that with painting. But anyhow, there's good stuff coming. Might just take a little bit to materialize. Making a bid on a game dealing with the entire French campaign 1940. Hope I'll win it as the bid ends on my birthday on Sunday. Ha! Would be nice birthday win. Speaking of painting, I did manage to paint all 10 of the honeys for North. Were you happy how they turned out? Notice I didn't say did they turn out well. I said, are you happy with how they turned out? That's the important thing. Because if you're not happy, you're gonna, you know, you'll suffer a morale check. Well, I think this is good. One thing I'm surprised I've handled this paint, but because the dry brush is on there pretty thick, I don't think any of it's come off. And it's going to end up getting a dusting anyways, so it's pretty awesome. We did the headlights. I actually watched a. All right, we need to brighten this up. This is super El Darko. Let's see if we can improve this a little bit. That's a little better. All right, let's see if you guys can see the headlights. They're kind of cartoony a little bit. I don't know. I can get that to zoom in. All right, let me minimize this one so I can look at the big screen what you guys are seeing, and put my glasses on. See if we can get this to focus. God, this light is just so, it doesn't photograph well. It's like blinds everything. But we did the lights. We did some tail lights back there. You even painted the red-white stripes on the turrets and sides. I don't like them on the turrets. I like them on the front. I actually don't like them at all, but, you know. That's signify the armored division or something like that. It was just like every armor. It wasn't a specific armored division. It was just like the armored division symbol. It's been a long time since I looked at that. But I do love all the little British nomenclature. They've got their unit symbol here, and they've got that number of the regiment or whatever. And they're nice and bright. All right, so we got this guy here. That one's completely done. We're going to need to spray those 2 with the turrets. Now, the only thing I'm really disappointed about, kind of disappointed, it's not huge, is these petting house decals suck. They're really thick. I can't microsol to make them smaller. So I go and look at them online to see if that's a problem. And yeah, it's apparently a thing. Petting house decals, everybody hates them. I'm like, great, that's good to know now, you know. But they're just, you know, it's like you come up to them and they're just thick, and then you come back down. It's like, so I think I can make them where they're not super noticeable. But the ones I have for the Russian vehicles are like almost like hand painted. So it's just this particular brand, but they are just wargaming figures, so you know, don't need to worry about that too much. All right, let's close this thing up, and let's go spray these, and then I will come back and do something I need to do while that's drying. Don't like them either. Mistake actually painting them to give the tanks another interesting part to look at. I think it just means armor divisions. That's what I thought too. Coming late to the video. No, you're not late. I've only been on 38 minutes. Welcome, Anthony. Forgive me. You're forgiven. What game are you preparing for? It's going to be getting back into World War II, and it's an old set of rules. It's, well, old. I didn't think they were old. They were brand new when I went to DBA, but they came out in 2002 called The Face of Battle, and they're out of production. They're out of print. I don't know why they'd be out of print, but they are. The core rules are out of print. So, you're going to go back to hand paint stars, tank numbers, entire 6mm. Initially didn't do that, but going back and doing it. Yeah. Okay, I will be right back in a few minutes, and we'll pick up where we left off. Okay, we're back. Oh man. Let's see what I miss. You guys having fun without me? Perfect. Man. Holy smokes. Excellent. Going back to hand painting stars and numbers. Okay, got it. Just painting Romano-British light horse. There's a guy, I don't remember who he is. I think he's on YouTube. I don't remember what his name is. I think he's got like a German last name or something like that. He does some GHQ stuff that's freaking amazing. Just amazing. I think his name starts with an S. I don't know. He does some stuff with like washes and stuff like that. He gets his money's worth out of those GHQ miniatures. Youngest about to fly the nest, so both glad and sad. My only one flies next year. Moving to Arizona from Washington State, works for an airline. Always introduces me to new music and movies. I'm going to have to find them myself. Oh man. That's pagan folk music. Have you guys heard this? I know you got to check this out. I like that stuff, but I've gotten to the point where I'm not a huge fan of lyrics. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull this off, because this is really cool if you check this out. How do I do this? World's worst multitasker in action. Ha, here he is. Okay, let's make sure it doesn't play this. The volume is way the hell up. That would have been a disaster. I'm going to send you guys a link that you can click on here. This guy's got a lot of stuff, but specifically this. And check this guy out. He is from Finland. And sign in to chat. Oh, come on. It's my own freaking channel. All right, can I do it here? Let's see. I don't know that I can do it here. Why can't I fucking chat? Edit your stream. Say something. Oh, I see what I gotta do. I've got to do it from... it's amazing that I've been able to do any of this stuff ever, because this is not user-friendly. All right, let's go live, right? And then we're going to go here. Let's click on my own thing. And let's go here, the video link, right? Come on. And now... I don't want to hide the chat. I want to say, there we go. I want to, why didn't it keep it? Copy. This is well worth the wait. Paste this. That guy's awesome. And that particular composition is 25 minutes long. And the background scenery is beautiful. Check that out. Okay. Now, can I get back to what I'm doing? Lots of people have recommended that the Sabaton people, but I don't think I think I tried to listen to them one time, and it's just too heavy. It's just too. The lyrics are just too heavy. I don't know. I could listen to them if I had to, but. And it's, it's about what the songs are about, and I'm terrible about listening to lyrics. I gotta have everything written down. Okay. We need to make some stands. Okay? So how do we do that? These are the shims I was talking about from work that they were just throwing out. Let's make sure they're the right thickness. These look thinner. Are they? So the bad thing about these is they're cut in, I think they're 3 by 3. 1, 2, something like that. Or 2.5 by 2.5. And they're perforated. They're like pre-perforated, so you can't use them on a bigger vehicle. So these just fit just fine. So I'm going to snap 3 of these off. And the One Day Invasion. It's actually 6-hour Invasion, isn't it? Great film. I haven't seen that one. I also have not seen, what's it called? Is it The King's Choice or something like that? The Invasion of Norway or something along those lines. Got to be better than those damn Russian movies. Great. Keep this other parts. I'm sure we can use them for Kubelwagens or motorcycles or some nonsense like that. Okay. We'll keep this. And we should be able to. This one's starting to turn at the end. Just what you want. A bunch of stands that are freaking wrong. Two. And the last one, for the last trick, and this is just plastic. They're just plastic shims. And we'll put a magnet on the bottom of it. So if we ever have to transport these somewhere, they're not going to slide around your toolbox all the time. Toolbox. That's done. We'll save these. We got 3 of these. All right, let's get our corner cutter. Look, it's pretty consistent, except for this damn bottom one that's off by a smidge. The corner doesn't matter a whole lot because it's going to get rounded anyways. There we go. All right, we've got these 3. let's go get our sandpaper, which should be handy here. Should be and is are two different things, and it is. Okay, perfect. And our corner cutter, which might be a little bit more difficult to find. Even though I'm fairly organized, things sometimes get out of whack, and I love it when I'm wrong. Perfect. Alright. Fingernail clippers. They're like, they're plastic. They're like hard plastic. Here's some metal music. I don't hear any. Nice to see a Sherman being painted by hand, but watching miniature Reynolds paint one with an airbrush and feel discouraged. You don't need a fucking airbrush. You don't. I kicked this thing out of the park. I was concerned. I'm like, you just gotta take your time. It's the problem with an airbrush is it's expensive. You gotta learn how to use it. I can't spray here. It's noisy. I gotta go to the garage. I live in Florida. It's hot as crap in there. Then you gotta clean it. You make a mess. It's like, I still don't see the part that I like out of it, you know? Yeah, they'll be back in a second. They turned out really nice. And it would just, I don't know why they have a little bit of a sheen. We need to get rid of that sheen. But the turret is freaking, this video doesn't do it justice. I am really impressed. Whoever freaking cast this turret, they need an award named after them. It's really pretty cool. We'll see how Dunkelgelb turns out. That's gonna be yeah. And they're extra little bits, and they all have different personalities. And I specifically started with Shermans because they don't get any love, you know. Small apartment, I'd gas myself out with an airbrush, yeah. You make a mess, you know. I've used them before. If you use a gravity one, the thing pops out and paint spilt. Yeah, I ain't got time for that, you know. I don't have time for that. Did you leave the YouTube? I don't think so. Did I? Do you hear it now? I don't hear it. Why should you? I don't know. Hopefully I don't get in trouble because it's... Well, I don't think that the thing is... I don't know. I used an airbrush a long time ago and it just... I don't want to get into that. All right, so let's round these corners. Actually, I need to... We're going to cut the corner off. We're going to cut the corner off. Doesn't have to be perfect. Good thing, because it isn't. I don't like square corners. It looks stupid in this scale. I'm okay with counters being square, but... That is the one thing I like about those Flames of War. Their stands are pretty cool. It's about everything else I don't care for, but... Hey, if it gets people in the hobby... That's cool. And we'll sand those down. Where can you get those plastic sheets? I have no idea. They're from work. Okay, Anthony, you stay safe too, man. Thanks for coming by. I don't know where you'd get these from. I can't even think of what the material is called. There's a technical name for it, but it's just plastic. It's plastic you can like put under concrete and it won't crush. So it definitely has some. Well, it's overkill for this, but it's already black, and it was free. They're literally going to throw it out. So I'm like, okay, well, I got plenty of it. You know, if I run out of this stuff, then I've accomplished everything I need to accomplish. God, what's this stuff called? I can't remember what it is. Not Lexan. But you know, it's bendable. But it's pretty stiff. It's not super bendy. And goes back to its shape. I shouldn't run out of the stuff. No, I shouldn't run out of the stuff. If I do, well, I'll gladly buy some. Or an equivalent. I mean, it's about 1.5 mil thick. I like them on stands only because there's a chance you'll grab them by the stand. And some vehicles that have the rubber band tracks, you're going to want them glued on something so that in handling they don't come undone and you have a problem on your hands. So, not that I have to have them on stands, but you certainly don't need the stands to label them or anything. God, I can't remember what this material is. You don't do this stuff anymore. We used to do, we used to do it when we did our architectural panels, and we'd send a bunch of these, and we've gotten out of that for probably 20 years now. All right, where's my friend? You shouldn't have asked what it was called. Now it's going to drive me crazy. It's probably a word you've never heard before. But I did look up, like, if any, because I wanted to get the ones that are 6-inch long, so that if I did something like a King Tiger, I don't have a gap in it where it could potentially break. And they were like $75 for, it was just way too much for, obviously not each or a strip. It was, you had to buy a minimum of whatever. One of those places doesn't really want to sell to the public. It's one of those, we don't want to sell to public, we want to sell to contractors and stuff like that. At least you'd invest for one of those mini vacuums. Nah, just get somebody else to buy it for you. That's what happened to me. It was actually supposed to be for my car, but never made it out there. I'm going to have to get drunk tonight just so I have to start thinking about that. All right. Ooh, we got a burr. You apologize for nothing. You're still going to burn at the stake. As long as you're not blamed for the drinking. No. Semtech. Something like that. It's like the material. It's basically a hard plastic that can resist extreme weight on it. So I got how to do this. You end up putting the goop on the whole thing, and then you mark where it is, and then you cut out the part and scoop it out, and then epoxy it down. That worked pretty well. So after doing 3 of them, I got it down to a system that works for me. So we're going to put magnets on these, and we're going to goop them without the vehicle on them. And then they'll be painted without the vehicle on them. And that worked pretty well. Loading my pockets with gunpowder. You do your own stunts. Like that music in the background better than this sound, huh? I don't know, you may be a sadist that likes this sound. I heard there's somebody actually, I ran into them, that they liked the smell of diesel fuel. Like, what's wrong with you? You know? What's next? They like the smell of dog shit, you know? And there's a little container here. As soon as I figure out how to do this, I've only done it once, that it just collects this stuff. Oh, and there it is, and we just dump it into the garbage can. And it's rechargeable. It charges in the old plug, whatever that is, the USB B, I think. USB B? I don't think it's the A. Closer, it bite me. And the only gripe about this is I wish it was stronger. Like I wish that it had more, you know, that had more oomph to it. And this is really imprecise. So it goes down to here. I'll probably do it like that. So bring this one down like this, and this one across. I do want it recessed a little bit inside. This stuff is really cheap, but it doesn't mean you have to be wasteful. Yeah, see, this is perfect. All right. Give me another set of them. Come here. I don't think a panther's going to fit on here. I think a panther's too long. But hey, we'll worry about that point when we're making panthers, right? Put that back over there. Panthers are a fine tank, definitely my top 3 tanks of World War II. You know what I don't like about them? They're not a gray tank. They're not a gray German tank. I like my Germans gray. It doesn't mean I'm not going to paint any non-gray German tanks. I'm just saying that when I think of German tanks, I think that they should look like this. So, anywho, all right, we need to goop. Where's our goop grabber? Like all these technical words I have for technical terminology for this stuff. I have several of these now. I better build some Kubelwagens and motorcycles. Good thing about motorcycles, it's always fun watching them wreck in a war game. Where is... I'll put it away where it should be. This is where it should be. Nope, it's here. I'm not used to having all this clutter, but I'm doing multiple things at once, so now you can grab that without giving goop all over you. And we're going to have to order some of this stuff soon because I'm really going through it a lot faster now. The Vallejo ground texture. Oddly, that's the same beef you have with a panther. Yep. Makes sense to me. Where is the spread 'em device? Spread 'em. I like the Panzer IIIs. I think the Panzer IIIs are a classic looking vehicle. The 4s aren't bad. I'm not a fan of the 4s with shirts in. I'm not a fan of the 4Hs. I got several of them just because they were common, but I'm not a fan of them. I can't like everything. I do like the Vallejo Pumas better, yeah. And it's a good thing because that one's not available anymore. I would have never switched. I was perfectly happy with the other stuff, but this stuff's better. It dries quicker. It's also a little bit more expensive, but it's kind of hard to say because, you know, the other one hasn't been available for a few years. This is like 20 bucks for this pot. But you know, everything costs prices it didn't cost 5 years ago, so that kind of goes without saying. The other stuff I think was like $14 or something like that, but this stuff is better. You can tell it's got more grit. It's almost like I'm spreading peanut butter that has sand in it or something. Sandy peanut butter. Yummy. I like to run a finger around the end of it so you don't have any of these things that stick out into another thing that's right next to it and it just looks awkward. Okay, there's one. Next. So I would like to glue the vehicle on here without the goop, but it's going to take forever to do the goop. It's impossible to paint it without, you know, making a mess where you don't want it. And I just happened upon doing it this way. It's easy to cut. You could just cut it with this and just take out the part where it goes, set it in there, epoxy in place, and you're done. And you know, you do that after you painted the first two colors. The third one I do at the end because that's the color that I bring up the sides like it's dust on the actual vehicle. And I've been really happy with the results. You have an earth color Vallejo pumice I haven't used yet. I have to wait till I start a miniatures project that is in continuation of one of my other projects so I can remain the same. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Other people seem to do it and they seem to be able to sleep at night, but I'm with you. It would be a problem. I totally get that. Did you ever play something like the Barbarossa 25 with Frank, or not really? I like the little vehicles that they're in all those books. I remember being a kid and looking at them. Man, I wish somebody around here had those Panzer IIIs or whatever it was, you know. Might be the only GDW game I have because they were shortly out of business after I was started wargaming. Didn't take them long. So people ask me, you ever played any SPI games? I said, no, they were already out of business when I started wargaming. And honestly, a lot of them look very, very drab. They might be great games, but man, they're drab as shit. I've got a couple of command posts. One of them, including, has the organization for the Alpha Corps. This is pretty cool. Command post quarterlies. I honestly don't know how I got them. I think I got them from somebody who didn't want them anymore, but it wasn't somebody that I gamed with. So I didn't get them until I was out of playing Command Decision. And my micro armor was some of the first stuff to go. I wish I would have taken pictures of it so I could be like, look how shitty my stuff used to look, you know? Because I don't regret the decision of getting rid of all that stuff. I don't want to look at it anymore, and I was never going to use it. And if I was going to play it again, I'd want things painted the way I paint them now. And I thought they looked pretty good at the time, but who knows if they actually did. You wouldn't have that command post handy. You bet I do. Looking for the Deutschland Africa Corps TOE for command decision. Yep. I know exactly where it is. Let's go grab it. I think I got 3 of them, actually. I got a purple one, a red-brown one. That's the one that has the Africa Corps in it. I think I know exactly where it is. Yep. Yep. I organized all this shit in my closet about a month ago, and man, it's so much easier. I got these old file things that my dad had, and makes it easy. So I have 3 command post quarterlies. Issue 3, issue 9, and issue 10. This one is Race to Messina. This one is The Late Great Unfought War. So this is probably the for combined arms, which I had the combined arms rules. I don't know what the hell happened to them. And it also has some World War II stuff in here. What is it here? Gazala? This issues. Streamlined small arms. I thought small arms were already too streamlined. What's this? Gazala Battles. This is Battles for Gazala. And then this one is Chadwick's Guide to the Africa Corps. And man, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff in here. Oh, there's modern shit in here too. I didn't mind the modern stuff. You put M1s out there and it's like not playable. Chadwick's Guide to the Africa Corps. Yeah. So you got part 1. It's February 41 to July 41. 5th Light Division with the 5th Panzer Regiment, 200th Rifle Regiment, 3rd Reconnaissance Battalion, 39th Anti-Tank Battalion. Then the 15th Panzer Division. And then 841, so it's August 41 to February 42, 15th Panzer, and the attendant units that are in there. 21st Panzer, which I wasn't a fan of. I like the 15th. You're a 21st fan, screw you. They painted that darker color, I didn't care for it. Division Africa, what's it, like the 90th? Light Africa, the Light Africa one, and then there's 342 to 742, 15th Panzer, 21st, 90th Light. 90th Light have any tanks? I don't think so. Corps troops. Some coastal batteries, had some French 155s in it. 164th Light Africa Division. I don't think I know that one, but that's August 42 on, and honestly, I never played any of that stuff. Do they have an organization for those divisions? They do. They do. They have all kinds of shit. They have all kinds of stuff. Send me your email, and I'll take your pictures and send them to you. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that, but this shit's been out of print for, it's 1990 freaking 3. So, let's look at the Africa Corps when they landed. 5th Light, I know they got tanks. That's the one that ended up becoming the 21st later on, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the 5th Panzer Regiment, that was the Corps of the 21st. Yeah, the 5th Panzer Regiment headquarters is a command stand and a Command Panzer III command variant. And then 2 battalions, each with a Command Panzer III-G and a Recon 2F. And then 2 light companies that had a Command 3G, a Panzer I, a Panzer 2F, and another 3G. And a medium company that had a 4E, a Command 4E, another 4E, and a 2F. Pak 38 anti-tank guns. '15th Panzer. I wonder if their tank units were any heavier. Yeah, their 2 light companies have no Panzer Is. They have a Command 3G, a 2F, and another 3G. That's the difference. They don't have any Panzer Is. Looks like the light division's the one that has the Panzer Is, according to Frank at the time. What command post? It's Command Post 3. It's Command Post 3. Now, this one actually has Gazala. Why would they bother having... Oh, here's a scenario. January, February 42, and they give you a little map and everything. '11th Panzer Division. Well, that can't be. The scenario is designed multi-day covering the period of January 28th, 42 to February 7th, 42. This is Eastern Front stuff. Little scenario there. Cool. I don't think I even looked at this stuff. This one. Here's a scenario for what's the World War One? Turkish Delight. You have the World War. What'd you call it? Over. I think it's called Over the Top. Yeah. What year was this? 94 or something like that? $1995. And then Race to Messina's. Oh, I guess I should look at the back. It'll say on here what it is. Gazala Battles 1 Axis Formations. And this is Gazala Battles 2 Allied Formations. Race to Messina. Yeah. Monty and Patton. Got some maps in here. That makes your head hurt. And here's your campaign map. So at Messina you got 30th Division and 13th Division against Hermann Goering and 45th 3rd Infantry Brigade and 1st 9th Infantry Brigade. Okay, so these are the U.S. units. So the U.S. had to fight 14th Panzer Grenadiers, and the British had to fight Hermann Goering. And I guess you go through the battles and yeah. I don't know why they would give you stuff for Gazala, but then you have the overall Africa Corps one. I don't know. Anyhow, send me your email somehow. And not that I use email for anything, but I'll take some photos. I don't know how they'll turn out, but if you need them. What else I got in here? Oh, here's that other rule set that I thought was really cool, and I never got a chance to play it. I got it very late. It's called the Clash of Armor, and it's the same scale as Command Decision, but you can activate units multiple times, and they get fatigue and stuff like that. So I always like this artist. I'm not sure who the hell this artist is, but it's really nice comic book looking stuff. I'll create a Facebook and send a message your way. Yes, Facebook is my name. Yep, send me a message. That's the best way. I love Facebook for that. Facebook I use. Email I don't really use. It's a pain in the ass. What else I got in here? That's the command post that I have. I sold all my ASL stuff, but I kept a queer deck. That's what we used to call these, a queer deck. Quick reference data chart. Yep. Looks really complicated. It's not. I don't know why I kept it. I think I meant to send it, but didn't. I think all the stuff I sold I had without the rules, because anyhow. Good stuff. Yeah, I got Command Decision 1 and the second one. I guess second edition is what it's called. What time you got? 10:15? I probably need to cut it off. These things need to dry overnight, and the tanks are still drying. So, yeah, go create a Facebook, send me a message, and I'll take some photos of what you're looking for. And for the rest of you, maybe we'll be on tomorrow night or the following night. But thanks for stopping by, knocking out some Shermans, and we got to give these guys they've been oversprayed with the dull, but the brush on dull works so much better. It really, really does. So we might have to resort to that to take that tiny little bit of a sheen off. But anyhow, yep. Thanks for coming by. Ah, there he is. There's the lunch lady. Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow night or the next night after that. Thanks for coming by. Have a good night, and talk to you guys soon. See you, folks.